Hi, I'm Amy Weir, Round Rock ISD Place 5 Trustee and the current Board Secretary.
And I'm Amber Feller, Round Rock ISD Trustee Place 3 and the current Board President. And we're back talking to you today about books. And we wanted to specifically talk about what happens when a book might make it through the process or accidentally get into our libraries, and what happens in our system at that point. So, Amy, would you like to talk about one specific book in particular?
Obviously, we did have one book that made it through. My opponent in particular has enjoyed sharing those pictures around at all of her events and at board meetings.
And what type of book was it?
It was a cartoon picture book, and it's 256 pages long, and it was at one library at one high school. And it did, if a librarian or a librarian's aide is flipping through, it was an award-winning book, it was on an approved list, it got ordered, it got on the shelves. Now, had a parent simply called the librarian and said, I've read that this book may have a concerning page or two, can you check it out for me? I'm going to tell you right now, that librarian would have pulled that book in a second, in a heartbeat. There's no way she would have left it on the shelves. Instead, what happened is, and it was not my opponent, I do want to make that clear, it was not my opponent, but what happened is that another parent, instructed their child to go check that book out. And I'm just going to say, if you were concerned that there was pornography in a book, don't send a child to check it out. You as a parent need to handle that situation. But instead, another parent had their child go check this book out, bring it home so that pictures could be taken and they could be shared. As soon as the librarian found out, of course, it was pulled, because Amber, that's our system, right? A librarian can, if it's brought to their attention, we don't even have to go through that review process.
Unilaterally pull it to protect the students in the best interest of our students.
And that's an important thing. So again, I'm going to say, please don't just share information from your keyboard that could be false. If you have a student in a Round Rock ISD school, talk to your librarian. They don't want to have anything on the shelves that's not appropriate, but they also want to make sure that there's something for everybody to read. Because I know like what my son would want to read is not what your son is want to read, what anybody's other child
next door neighbor's kid may want to read.
I mean, and even like me, I look at some of the books that are on that list and I don't really have an interest. I wouldn't want to read them. They're not what I would read for enjoyment or anything. And so we need to be really, really careful about this false narrative that books are in our school.
We really need to be careful on how this is affecting our librarians and our teachers. There are some school districts around the state that are actually passing along reprimands and even penalties and enforcing the law on these librarians and teachers for books that they have in their classrooms, when they're really just trying to provide a robust learning environment for their students. So we need to make sure that we're going through the process, we're trusting the process, and we are not adversely affecting our teachers and our librarians who are just trying to do their job.
They're not our enemy. That is what I do want to say. Our teachers and our librarians are not our enemies. And unfortunately, this playbook that's being used right now to try to destroy public education is trying to make our librarians and our teachers the enemy. There are school districts here in Texas that are adding penal code violations into their policy so that to threaten their teachers and librarians. And I will let you know that Trustee Weston that was one of the sessions that she went to at our last big training conference for school boards and school administrators. And it is definitely on the radar. Should even 2 seats flip, you can guarantee what policy changes are going to be first, just like what happened at Grapevine Colleyville, just like what happened at Keller, just like what's happened at Katy ISD. Yep. Please just Google them. Southlake, that's where the teacher got reprimanded, publicly reprimanded for a book in her classroom, not one that she assigned.
Yep.
So
get educated, not only about our policies for our library books, but about who's running for school board. Again, I'm Amber Feller, Round Rock ISD Trustee Place 3.
And I'm Amy Weir, Round Rock ISD Trustee Place 5, and we look forward to your vote in November.
Thanks so much.